Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome or welcome back. Today I'm doing another new makeup release video. It's actually my first one for 2021, and I was actually going to film this video a few days ago, and I was like looking through like the usual Instagram accounts I go through. Today the ones that I'm going to refer to are Trend Mood and Beauty Effects by Celeste. I'll have both of their accounts linked below if you want to check them out. That's where I get a lot of the information as well as the images that I'm inserting throughout today's video. But I went to their accounts the other day, and really there hadn't been that many new launches, and then all of a sudden last night I was going through and there were so many that like really were like interesting to me, so I decided now would be a good time to do my new makeup releases for January video. Some of these products have already launched, some of them are coming soon. As for the ones that are already available, I'll have them linked in the description box below. Any link that has an asterisk beside of it is going to be an affiliate link, which is just a link that if you purchase a product using it, I can make a commission off of your purchase. It's no extra cost to you, but I do like to always be transparent about that at the beginning of all of my videos. But with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the new launches. So the first launch I want to talk about is one from Colourpop. It's their Love Struck Collection, and this is going to be a set of five pan palettes. They each are $10, and they all have kind of a different theming. The two that interest me the most are Ballad, which is like the smoky cool tone palette, and then also Amore, which is like the rosy palette. Obviously, those are two color schemes that I'm very much down with, and they intrigue me. However, these are $10, and I know this is supposed to be like an alternative to Natasha Denona, but we've seen a lot of brands do that already. And you know, when I think about like my e.l.f. quad that's what, $3 or $4, when I think about the CoverGirl quad that's $10 that is really good quality, I feel like this price, you know, lines up, but I don't need another, you know, 5-pan palette at this point, especially one with a color scheme that I feel like I already have in my collection. I have to really love the color scheme in order to want to go for it, and none of these are like really enticing me. If they did have more of like a neutral one, then maybe that would be something I'd want to get, but as of right now, nothing's drawing me in enough. But I do think this does set the tone for where a lot of palettes I think are going to be going. They're going to be a lot more curated. The colorways are going to be a little bit, you know, smaller. You're just going to have less options, which I kind of like. I think it can be overwhelming to have like a giant, you know, pan palette sitting in front of you. It just can. So I think this is going to be a big trend in 2021. These are already available if you want to check them out. But yeah, that is the first launch of 2021 I wanted to talk about. Let's talk about a launch that got quite a few people pretty heated. This is the MAC Sims collection. They came out with this 9-pan Solar Glow palette. It's $32, and this palette to me, when I initially saw it, I was like, I don't know much about Sims. Like, I've never played. I'm not super like drawn towards this palette, but it looks very natural and basic. Like, of course, I love my more natural shades. Like, if this palette was for anyone, it'd probably be for me. But I was like, I feel like I've seen this before from MAC. I really, even before I knew anything, I was like, it looks like they just slapped the Sims label on the outer packaging and called it a day. Like, they didn't even change anything in the inner packaging of the actual palette. And I'm like, this just looks really like a cash grab. And then I actually saw like a lot of other people kind of calling this out, and eventually people started realizing that this is a palette they have in fact released before. So this is just nothing new. They weren't advertising it. Like, I looked in a lot of different things, and I have yet, correct me if I'm wrong, but I have yet to see anything that says like, oh, like limited edition packaging or Sims edition packaging. Like, it does not say anything that this has been released before. It does say it's limited edition, but I was just assuming that like the entire palette was something new, and I imagine many other people were as well. This is already available, and I actually think it's only available for the US, but like if you're, you know, not in America, I do not think you're missing out on anything. I don't think this palette is going to be successful, and I really do think this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way who are already having kind of, I don't know, more hesitant feelings towards MAC. So I don't know, I feel like this launch was definitely a bust. Next we have another dud launch. It's from Wet n Wild. It's their Bare Focus Hydrator collection. So they're coming out with these tinted moisturizers. They're supposed to have like sheer to medium coverage. They're $5 a piece. They're oil free, but they're also supposed to be hydrating. And so all of this, I'm like, wow, like that all sounds great. That looks like something I'd enjoy. And then I look at the range of shades. And first off, the shade range is just, there's only 8 shades. Like, that's not gonna work. And especially when you look at the actual like shades that are represented in this range, there's 6 or 7 that are going to suit like lighter complexions, and then there's maybe 1 that represents like a medium or maybe, just maybe, a dark complexion. But there's absolutely none in this by looking at it on the picture. Like, there's nothing, I don't think, that would represent like someone who has a deeper complexion and really a darker complexion in general. Like, this just is one of the least inclusive launches I've seen in a while, and I mean that's just not gonna fly, especially from a brand that has like knows their market, has money to do many shades. And really, even if you're just gonna come out with 8 shades, you need to at least have, you know, a fair amount for each type of complexion within that range. So equal number of shades for light complexions, equal number of shades for medium, deep, and dark, and this just doesn't have that. It's available at Walmart now if you're interested. I was, but now I'm not. Next, let's talk about the e.l.f. Mint Melt collection. This is one that has so many different components under it. There's like a cleanser, a cleansing cloud, eyeshadow sticks, a brush trio, so many different things. But there's 3 products in particular that I kind of wanted to just highlight real quick. The first one is their cooling primer, and this is one that is, I believe, $8, and it's just like a face primer. It's supposed to have like this gel texture. It's supposed to be hydrating as well as cooling for the face, and that sounds like something I would love. This does have a vanilla mint scent, and I don't know how strong it would be. I don't know what ingredients they use for the mint. I mean, I could always look at it. But for me personally, I don't love like scented things that are like on my face. I'll use it. I don't find that I typically get irritated by it, but I am trying to be more careful with my skin. I do have pretty sensitive skin, and so I just worry about that scent being in there, what's in it, like all of that. And mint isn't supposed to be, it's kind of a more controversial ingredient. I know a lot of people, you know, love mint as like a skincare ingredient, and then there's also like a lot of people who are like more against it, say that it's not the best. So I'm kind of hesitant about that, and I probably wouldn't get that primer for that reason, really, even though I love mint scented things. So it makes me excited that in the glosses that they come out with, there's 4 of them, and they're each $4. And with these mint melt glosses, they're supposed to be plumping, which I kind of like a plumping effect. They're also supposed to be like hydrating, and they're giving like a shiny finish to the lips, so it sounds like something I'd enjoy. They have that same vanilla mint scent, which I really like in my lip products. I love mint scented things there. Like, it never really irritates my lips when I use mint on them. So that sounds okay to me. It's just none of the shades are really calling my name. And then as for the eyeshadow quads they're coming out with 2. They're going to also be $4 a piece. I love the bite-sized shadow quads, and I imagine these are going to be the same formula. They came out with 2 different ones. The first one's kind of this like monochromatic mint green palette. It looks a lot like just the only mint shades you would really need while still being like, you know, curated and not like a giant palette, and I think that's something that I like. I don't really need a mint green palette, but if I did, this would be one I'd want to try. And then the other one kind of like cracked me up because there was so much innovation in this entire collection, and then there's this quad with like 3 browns and 1 like green. It's like the total pop of green effect. So that one just kind of like made me laugh, but it's not, you know, too expensive. If it's a good formula, then so be it. But these are already available if you want to check them out. Moving on to the Physicians Formula Matte Monoi. I can't say this. I couldn't say the Maru. I love these butter bronzers, but this is the matte version. It's $14, and I believe this is already available. This bronzer, I love the original butter bronzer. Like, I just picked up another one because I ran out of one. Like, this bronzer is one of my, like, probably my favorite bronzer, definitely my favorite from the drugstore, but really one that I'm constantly using is the original butter bronzer from Physicians Formula, and I use it in the shade bronzer, and that's convenient for me because that's the only shade that they came out with in this new matte formula, which just, again, not gonna cut it. Like, it's just not. It took them so long to even come out with other shades to the butter bronzer, and they still don't have enough. And now, like, they're just gonna come out with one. Like, they know better, and that just kind of like rubs me the wrong way. I was so excited for them to be coming out with a matte bronzer because in particular, I do like matte bronzers better, and it always kind of irritated me that the butter bronzer had a little bit of a sheen, but I could overlook it because of the good formula, and now, I don't know, I'm really not happy about it. It's available now. I want to try it, but I'm also like really not wanting to try it because I'm like, this is just, you know better, Physicians Formula. Next, let's talk about the Air Matte collection from NARS. They're coming out with these lip colors, which are going to be kind of like cushiony feeling, creamy feeling, but they're going to have more of like a soft matte focus to them as far as like the appearance goes. They're $26. There's 8 different shades. However, they're calling this like limited edition. I don't know if these shades are just limited edition or if this formula is limited edition, but it's a brand new formula. So I don't really understand when brands come out with like lip products or anything where you're going to like want to continuously repurchase it, why it's like automatically limited edition. I don't really understand. But then they're also coming out with the Air Matte Blush. It's $30 a piece. There's 4 different shades to go through. This one does not say anything about being limited edition. It's supposed to be a blush that goes from like a creamy, moussey formula when you're applying it to having more of like a velvet powdery appearance on the cheeks. It's got like a wash of color, but it's supposed to be matte. This does intrigue me, but I'm not the biggest fan of like cream products in general. Like I'd rather just use a powder for the most part. So especially if it's just going to give a powder appearance in the end, but these are already available at Ulta. Moving on to some more from Wet n Wild. They're coming out with their Color Icon palettes. They're going to have 5-pan as well as 10-pan palettes. The 5-pans are going to be around $4 and the 10-pans are going to be around $6. They have shimmers, they have mattes, they have all of these different like formulas of shades in these, and these seem very similar to, like I mentioned before, the e.l.f., the Colourpop, the CoverGirl, these kind of more curated smaller palettes from the drugstore that we've been seeing a lot recently, and I am pretty intrigued by these ones from Wet n Wild. I have quite a few things from Wet n Wild that I do enjoy. I'm still a little irritated about that tinted hydrator launch, but this one actually looks pretty intriguing to me. There's a lot of colors that I could see myself trying. If you guys would like me to try these out in the future, I'd love to hear it. I will say I've seen a few reviews that are not the most flattering of these, so that's the only reason I'm like a little hesitant. In conjunction with these like new Color Icon palettes, they also came out with the Big Papa mascara. It's $6, and initially seeing this I was like, this just looks like another mascara, like I really am not that interested in it, but I have to tell you, it has like this claim that it's going to be volumizing, it's going to add drama, it's going to be lengthening, and that's all things I love. It also has a buildable formula apparently, which really is like a #1 thing for me. I'm constantly like adding coats to my lashes. I like to add volume and choose how much is there. So that's something that like really intrigued me. But then finally I was like, it has castor oil in it, and if you know, I love castor oil, and just the fact that it's like infused within the mascara, so it's not even like an extra step you're having to take, it's just like part of the routine. I really like that. Like this is something I really want to try. It's already available. I don't know, this is something that is definitely on my wish list now. So Buxom has a really great gloss formula. They have 2 different ones. They have more of a shimmery one called the Polish, and then more of just a creamy one, which is their cream. And they have a shade in particular that's really popular called White Russian. I've talked about it a lot on my channel. I really love it. It's kind of just this pinky natural shade. And they have it in both of like the formulas. Actually, I think they only have it in the cream now that I'm thinking of it. Anyway, very, very successful lip gloss. And talk about brands just harping on the success of like one of their shade launches. You know how brands do this. They have a product that comes out and they just harp on it until no end. Like they just keep coming out with things that are going to benefit knows all about this, but this is Buxom, and they're coming out with a collection called the White Russian collection. They're putting out the gloss in like limited edition packaging. They're coming out with a lipstick, a highlighter, a palette, and honestly, the highlighter looks really nice. It's in the same formula as like their Wanderlust blushes, except highlighter form. The shade looks really pretty. I really do like it. It's $24. But as for the eyeshadow palette, it's like an eyeshadow and cheek palette, and this is a $39 palette, and it just looks so boring. Like, I mean, it literally has like no innovation. Like I don't know who came up with this, but like it's bad. Like I don't know who thought this was a good idea. Like it just looks so incredibly boring. I mean, they could have done a lot with this, but this was not something they should have done. So Rare Beauty also came out with another collection. This is called their Stay Vulnerable collection, and it looks to me like a pretty creamy, natural collection, definitely on par with like the rest of the launches from the brand. The first little component in this collection is their Stay Vulnerable Melting Cream Blush. It's $21. There's a couple different shades, and for me, a lot of times I find that with cream blushes, there's not normally a ton of shades that they come out with, and none of them really pull me in a lot, but these actually do. And like the description of the way that it's supposed to appear on the cheeks, like something that's seamless, blends in with the skin, very natural, kind of like soft focus effect, that's what I would like in a cream blush. So if I were to pick up a cream blush from a brand, I feel like this is one that I'd want to try. Additionally, they're coming out with these like liquid eyeshadows, and those are $20 a piece, and personally, I don't know how I feel like these are going to work. They're supposed to be like liquid to powder formula, quick drying, all of that stuff, which is good because then it's not going to transfer, but I just have a weird feeling about these. I kind of worry that these are going to not perform very well. I have no reason to think that, but I just have kind of a feeling about it, like a little inkling. But as for something that I am really excited about and will probably end up picking up is the Stay Vulnerable Glossy Lip Balm. This is $18, and I love my glowy lip balm from Laneige. That's $1 less than this one, but I don't know, I've really been wanting to try Rare Beauty, and I love lip balms that like have that you know, balmy feel but look like a gloss. Like that's my favorite type of lip product. So if there is a shade in here that like I think I'd really enjoy, then I definitely want to pick it up. They're supposed to be hydrating and nourishing, non-sticky, like all the things that I love in a lip product. So if that's all really true, then I definitely want to try it out. So 4-3 Beauty is coming out with these body milks. They're going to be $18 a piece, and they're supposed to be these products for the body that are going to provide moisture that's going to like absorb very quickly and dry very fast, so you don't have to worry about like a greasy feel to it, which doesn't, like, it really does interest me because I do have such dry skin. However, I would be a little bit worried about irritation just because the products seem to be like pretty scented, but I mean, I haven't really heard of anyone breaking out or being irritated due to 4-3 Beauty. If you have any experience with it, I kind of want to try something from the brand, so this is something that I think would go on my wish list. They have 4 different versions and all of them sound pretty good. They have like a white peach version, a pink grapefruit, an avocado, as well as a coconut. The only one that I don't love is coconut. I just don't love the smell of it, but the other 3 do sound pretty nice, and the packaging is absolutely adorable. Like these, I don't know, I feel like this is going to draw a lot of people in because the packaging is so cute. These are already available if you want to check them out. Alright, those are a bunch of new makeup launches. I hope that you enjoyed watching today's video and hearing my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours on these launches or anything else in the comments down below. If you're new here and you haven't already subscribed, I'd love if you would do so before you go. If you want to check out any of my other videos that are similar to this, I will have a playlist in the description below called What's New in Makeup, and that has all of my other new makeup release videos if you're interested in checking them out. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope you have a great couple of days until my next video is uploaded, and I will see you when it is. Bye!